coming around the corner of a department store and seeing my dad come around the corner at the same time. It was a mirror. When I'm signing up for an account on a website, I have to scroll back pretty far to find my birth year now. When I fell down at work and no one laughed. Instead, three people came running over to make sure I was accredited. To clarify, I'm only 36. I was walking in our break room and stepped down wrong, I guess. I fell into the stove and rolled my ankle. Thank you all for the awards. Kinda weird that my most popular post is about me falling down. Let me assure all of you that I was okay after this fall and have gone on to fall down to different sets of stairs and trip over my dogs on multiple occasions. Instead of growing facial hair to look older, I'm shaving it to look younger. I saw a picture on Facebook of a friend from college and thought, damn, he got fat and old. I immediately realized it. I also got fat and old. I lied mine since it was the reason I thought to ask this question. Last week I sneezed and it threw my back out. I used to drive for Uber, and one night I realized the college girls I picked up could have been my adult daughters. They played Green Day and The Offspring on the classic rock radio station. I had to explain to someone how we used to organize meeting up before cell phones became a thing. That and having to use encyclopedias and other books to complete homework. I'm mid-30s. The reactions I was getting, it was like I was explaining how to split an atom using to sporks wars. What on earth is all this? Thank you for all the upvotes and awards, you wonderful, kind strangers. Tips happening the comments of this thread. I'm being hit with waves of nostalgia. This whole convo happened after one of my colleagues' 19 phone had no data, and they were distraught about not being able to keep up with people and what was happening. It blew my mind that his social life was over as soon as data was done. So I stood on my quick save-up reference, issued no frills soapbox, and started preaching about how I survived the Mad Max-esque dystopia on wasteland with no phone at all. Mobiles were definitely on the scene when I was a teen, but they were still at that stage where someone older would be getting one for you, and even if you did have one, keeping the thing topped up with credit was another story. Had one at 17, 3,310, but it was just extra weight in my pocket. Had no credit to call anyone, and it was expensive to call landline to mobile, or so my parents yelled at me. So we still used landlines anyway. I remember one ringing people so they would call you back, and then being pissed if they managed to pick up the call because that cost credit, and would a lot of times for me take the balance to a point I called it one ring inning. Right, maybe I should be posting this one on when did you realize, fuck, I was broke. Phone boxes were available if they weren't been used as a toiletizing meeting up. Plan Y in advance, all the intricate details like where we gonna eat and etc. Pick a distinctive landmark in the area and then do a round of landline phone calls perhaps the evening before, just to make sure everyone was still on board. The day would come, you would turn up to previously agreed location and then wait. That was it. I honestly don't remember a time where someone didn't turn up after the final am there, which could be days before the actual event. Late maybe, but there would usually be a checkpoint along the journey for people to catch you if it was easier for them to meet up there. Tickets would be held by only the most reliable. I was never that person. I feel like plans would only be made with people you wanted to be around, and if we all really, genuinely wanted to go out, since it took effort to even agree on where Uhano and then coordinate. These days it's so easy to agree to things and then cancel at the last minute. Wof, to split an atom with sporks. Prepare a suitable work area. I suggest a plate on top of a tea-tool place. Atom on top of the plate. Take a spork in each hand. Wear gloves, but only those black gloves they use at beaks and barber shops are acceptable as the spork in the left hand to split atom. Then, to hold in place, go the spork in or right hand to scoop out the innards. Repeat until you have enough for the mushroom strudel. Usually just one required. Let me make it clear after all this rambling, I really enjoy How easy it is to look things up and communicate these days. But that time definitely taught me how to be more resourceful and how to appreciate all this wonderful new technology. Tell doctor, some of you will never hear Bill Clinton say I did not have sexual relations with that woman after completing a tour download of a tune from Knack for Somewhere Healthies, and that is a true shame. When I see popular Reddit posts mentioning celebrities with weird-ass names and I'm like, who the fuck are these people? When my son could outrun me? When I find myself grunting and groaning just to bend over to tie my shoes. When I was in my late 20s, I dated a girl who had a daughter. The daughter and I got along great, played a bunch of Katamari together, etc. Years later, that girl and I have long since broken up. I did some volunteer teaching at one of the local alternative schools with my wife, and one of students in the film class we'd off was my ex-girlfriend's daughter, now 18 years old. At some point in your life, whether you have kids or not, you realize you're technically old enough to be a grandparent, and that feels very old. When I overheard my teenage niece and her friends taking the piss out of things millennials say. When I went to a music festival and slept in a tent after 5 or so years of not doing so. My God, I need to get home and take a real shower. I just turned 30 and got a hemorrhoid instant celos. I have no idea how to spell hemorrhoid. I was playing basketball alone, and a bunch of kids smashed a beer bottle on the other side of the court, just for fun. I shouted at, told them to pick up the pieces and warned them not to do that shit ever. Agatha got scared shirtless and apologized. I had never felt older. When I mentioned Mr. T to my wife's friend, and she had no clue who I was talking about. I was teaching a class last week and told my audience that they may need to MacGyver a solution if they come upon a certain problem. No one knew what that meant to Brooks, someone asked. It was an refresher course. These are the people you trust with your life? Getting excited over things like a new vacuum, new water heater, or a plastic silverware tray. Realizing the Linkin Park album I like is 20 years old. Laughing when someone invites me out, especially if the start of the event is 9 p.m. When I spotted a gray pubic hair, oddly this bothered me more than the gray hairs on my scalp. It's Sato clarify. I'm female. When my oldest daughter was in first grade, she brought a note home from the teacher saying that my daughter had misbehaved. I had to sign it and send it back. My daughter was scared and tearful, and it suddenly struck me. Holy shit, I'm the adult here. I'm the authority figure who little girl is scared to be in trouble with. To me, I was the same person I was when I was 16 for the award. Kids born in 2000 to 2003 are in college now. Could have sworn they were always 8. I got a shooting pain in my butthole while at work, and it took my breath away. Me 28 was waiting tables the first time it happened. It was awkward having to explain to my coworker why mine is randomly buckled low. Also, I've never done anal. I was at work and had a meeting with an ex-Olympic gymnast. She was stunning and had cosmetic surgery to enlarge her frontage. She was also wearing quite a low-cut top that had metal spikes in the shoulders, all supposedly very distracting stuff. My very first thought, I bet that jumper makes a noise in the tumbled dryer. Me second thought, fuck, I'm old. How many years ago in a Velen happened? I saw a comment the other day saying that we are closer to 2050 than we are 1990, and that just made me feel old since I grew up in the 1990s. I was walking through Sheffield after work, about 7 p.m., around December 2013, I think. It was freezing. A bunch of students rounded the corner and a couple of the girls were wearing really short dresses. No coats, thought one. She must be Friedenshof too. That's something it might have soft 03. I'm old enough to be her daftute for. Why did I not think she was fit? Thought 5. When the fuck did I start thinking like this? These thoughts passed through my head in what must have been only half a second. Today, Eminem is 48 years old. When I took off my driving glasses and put on my reading glasses for the first time, but the worst one was when I saw a girl in a supermarket near me that looked exactly like a girlfriend I had a long time ago. I was about to go up and say something to her when this older lady grabbed her and said, "Caitlin, come here," and scowled at me. At that moment I realized that the old lady was my ex and the girl was her daughter. That was a low blow. I was just buying dryer sheets, but instead I got my age thrown in my face like a punch from Mike Tyson. My 12-year-old daughter's friend told her the amount of times your mom has worn that outfit is astronomical. And when my daughter repeated it to me, all my hopes of being a cool mom were crushed and I felt older than I ever have. When I was about 28 or 29, I added laughter lines to my Xbox avatar. That was a little joke because I was starting to notice them early. No bigger when I was 35, though. I noticed my first gray hair. I remember exactly where I was when I saw it. Existential crisis in it. I grew up watching Friends and remember an episode where Jack Geller, Monica, and Ross's dad talks about having to shave his ear hair. It was a funny, gross moment. I have to do that weekly now. When my new doctor looked like Doogie Howser Med. For those that don't know that reference, point proven. When I learned what I've been referring as pounds ages is actually hashtag zidges. I still don't know why it is called a hashtag instead of pound though. The first time I sat on my balls. When a kid said, "What's a DVD?" Not even Visa. When a student nurse at work tells you she was born the year you left high school. You relate to those progressive commercials about acting like your parents. When I learned that my 17-year-old niece had never heard of Weird Al Yankovic. I was cleaning out the storage room and came across my old Gamma Bow. Said to myself, wow, this makes me feel old. It's been like 10 years since this was mad. I got curious and Googled it. 1989. I've been doing this longer than you've been alive. You should listen. When movie stars started being younger than me, the recent Star Wars trilogy, the most recent Spider-Man reboot, when I realized that how I conducted myself on one day would still affect my body the very next day, and I could not longer just walk it off sore feet, bruises, eating very bad junk food. When I realized there were now people approaching their mid-20s who have no personal memories of Nineveh. I had to explain to somebody I work with whose share was when I found out the Ralph Macchio was older than Pat Morita was when he portrayed Mr. Miyagi in the Karate Kid. That Morita wore more eaten or equus in Japanese. The worker at Dunkin' Donuts gave me a senior discount. I didn't ask for one. I'm 58, bought a $2,500 electric skateboard couple years ago. I've never ridden it for fear of injury. I loved American Eagle, especially their jeans. Went in one day and saw a t-shirt that said "Totes Amazed," turned around and exited the store. Haven't been in the store or bought clothes from them since. I'm sold. I just buy my clothes from Target. Snapchat. I seriously am too old for it, and nobody wants to snap with me because I don't understand the rules for what makes good content. Because nobody snaps with me, I never get any better at the platform. It is the first trend I found myself wanting to tell to get off my lawn. I'm 58 and it hasn't hit me yet. Adventure Quest sent me an email noting that it's their 18th birthday this year. I found that game in 2005. When I was listening to an oldies rock station and realized that the 80s was now include. When I read my teenage nephew's Instagram and have no idea what he and his friends are talking about. Teaching a class to soldiers and I mentioned I joined the military because of Nineveh. We all remember where we were when that happened, right? Soldier responds, I wasn't born yet. When someone asked what a pager is, mail stopped being fun. It's just bills now and the occasional coupon book. Oh, and I get excited about coupon books when I had to put Urban Dictionary on my phone to understand what's going on. When I realized it's easier to just say I'm in my 30s than it was to remember exactly how old I am. The first time I decided sleep was preferable to sex at a missing word. I have friends that I've known for longer than I haven't. When I got the invite to my 20th high school reunion, where the ever-loving fuck did to decades ago, when I was rewatching Gilmore Girls for like the 20th time a few years ago and realized I was the same age as Laura Ellie. When it first started, I was the same age as Rory. I noticed that my YouTube recommended feed is mostly news. Fuck, I'm old. Guy at work told me his name was Munchie. I looked at my other co-worker and said I'm too damn old to be calling someone Munchie. Went to concert. Held up lighter. Everyone else held up cell phone. When I stopped looking forward to Christmas, it went from being the most wonderful time of the year to it's Christmas, and we were all in misery. Hiked some mountains during college. I'm 49 now, and last year hiked again after about 20 years. Those words did escape my mouth a few times. When I celebrated my 26th birthday last month and my little sister asked me what year I was born, I said 1994, then proceeded to ask if I was a slave or born free. She's learning about slavery, getting excited for the nights in rather than the nights out. I got called a boomer. I'm 30 because a kid legitimately swallowed a whole bottle of pain pills acetaminophen in front of me due to a toothache while I was working. And I simply told him to be careful because he could get really sick like I did, giving myself ulcers and vomiting blood, gaining eczema because I took my pills on an empty stomach, or even die. When a kid half my age had to explain slang, such as thick, to me, when a kid who was borrowing her mom's flip phone cause her smartphone I'd asked me to help her text cause she didn't understand how it worked. Today, hangovers. When a doctor described me as middle-aged. Fuck. I was born after the advent of The Simpsons. I started watching the show before I was 10, and there came a point when I realized I'm watching The Simpsons and am now older than Bart. Fast forward to 2020, and I'm almost Homer's age. Oh, hatter, or the odds they keep making new Simpsons when I'm Abraham Simpson's age. If they do, I might need to go out for some frosty chocolate milkshakes. Whenever I reminisce about Blockbuster Video, the good old days. I'm in my 30s. Several years ago when smartphones first came out, I was content with my flip phone, and it took me way too and embarrassingly long to understand what there's an app for that meant. I've actually only upgraded to a smartphone about 4 years ago, way behind the pack. My niece drove over to our house the other day just to say hi in her own car and telling us about her first job. I remember all the milestones, but seeing her drive up on her own, I felt like I needed a cane to walk to the curb to talk to her. I played Among Us with a random group, randomly said my age, and one of them said their mom was that old thief, started calling me dad. I eventually said, "Are you winning, son?" And they all were like from the meme. It was pretty adorable. On a dating app, seeing profiles of people my age. Me and my friends are moving into a new flat together, and we were so fucking happy when we got a kitchen set for $200 with a fridge and a fucking dishwasher. The dishwasher was the one we were happy the most about. Every time I investigate a sound outside by turning off the lights and peeping through the blinds, then report to my wife the cause of said sound. I groan loudly when I get up as my joints snap, crackle, and pop. I still have a Visp player and use it. 28 and seeing the amount of old friends, coworkers, classmates, and acquaintances my age who are getting married, getting into some boring middle management position, buying a house, and are having more than one kid. Happens frequently to me for many reasons. Bent over to look at a plant and it fucked up my back for a few days. I do payroll, and sometimes I'll enter a job and I'll see something like this person was born in 1995. Better get the minor paperwork. Do not understand the vast majority of current pop music at all. I don't know who the hell these famous people are. And when I do find out, I have no idea why anybody would care. I think teenagers and young adults already. I'm 39 and absolutely feel ancient. When things hurt with no reason, I work with a good bit of people in their 20s and mentioned my hand was hurting. Why? Did you slam it in something? Nope, it just hurts. Oh, things just hurt when you're older. For no reason. Well, it should go away. Yeah, sometimes they go away, and that's nice. Hookup apps. They came after my promiscuous prime, and I feel like I could have done really well there. I was talking with a kid at work about rap music and told him I really like 36 Mafia and Jeezy, and the kid said, okay, I can get down on some old school. Local Sci-Fi TV channel. Welcome to our weekend marathon of Firefly. Husband and I, the local Sci-Fi TV channel, to celebrate the 20th anniversary of its release. Husband and I, Awaha. Earlier this year, I bent down to pick up a rock and toss it back into my gravel driveway, felt something in my spine hitch in a weird way, and without a hint of irony said aloud, "Ah, my back." That was a dark day.